When it comes to the popularity of anime OPs, the most recognizable songs generally come from the most popular anime themselves. Most weebs have seen their fair share of classics in the genre, and as such, they're exposed to the songs in their intros, so it's no surprise to see that the process usually reflects that. If you decide to watch the show introduces you to some great music. However, in the case of the spring 2019 hit sensation Domestic Girlfriend, this process was reversed for me, as I imagine it was for a lot of you. In this case, I heard about the OP first, and after I listened to the song, I decided that it was such a banger that I was inspired to watch the rest of the show. I imagine this kind of reversal was experienced by a good number of you as well, because, come on, what kind of a person would deliberately watch Domestic Girlfriend without a fire OP to hook you in? Surely nobody would read the synopsis of the show and actively want to watch it. And surely the only reason you'd come back for another episode is to hear the intro again, and definitely not because you're actually hooked into this spicy dumpster fire of a show. Surely. Who am I kidding? With opinions about Domestic Girlfriend itself aside, one thing I think everybody can agree upon is that the OP, Kawaki wa Ameku, or Crying for Rain by Minami, is a truly special song in a number of ways. However, I think there's a few main takeaways that I think directly tie back to why the song stood out to so many of us and why the song was powerful enough to make me watch the show. The song starts off quiet and slow. An acoustic guitar serves as the only background music, and Minami isn't even singing. Her voice is barely more than a whisper. Already, the song appears melancholy and somber. When Minami does start singing, the lone acoustic guitar takes a step backwards, only playing on the downbeat of each measure, and letting each chord slowly ring and fade out. Minami's voice is delicate and airy, almost as if she's continuing to try and whisper as she sings. That is, until she reaches the end of the phrase, when her voice grows in intensity accompanied by a hi-hat. This leads into electric guitar, bass, and piano playing a unified melody full of intensity, starkly in contrast with the melancholic acoustic guitar we heard just a few seconds prior. And Minami's voice serves as the gateway between these two contrasting moods. To make this 180-degree turn of your voice in a matter of seconds is something that most of us can probably do, but something that's really difficult to do well, and something even harder to do convincingly. Minami is able to convey the emotion that matches the somber acoustic guitar, while also being able to convincingly match the raw emotion, passion, and even the fury of the electric guitar and the piano. If she weren't able to make that change convincingly enough, instead of seeing the beat drop for what it is and the raw intensity and passion it's meant to convey, well, it would just kind of feel out of place coming from a voice that seemed so delicate just a few seconds prior. So that was just the first 20 seconds of the song, and by this point, I and probably everybody else listening to the song, we're all hooked. The next 30 seconds sees Minami revert back to a softer, airy voice texture, more similar to how she started off the song with, but instead of having an atmosphere of somberness and delicacy, the electric guitar and the drum set are backing it up, so that the song moves along in a more robust manner. And besides, the fact that we've already heard the intensity in her voice before gives us the impression that this airiness in her voice will not last, almost as though her voice is trying to hold back the emotion and the fury that will inevitably build and break later through in the song. And looking at the lyrics of the song, an atmosphere of a delicate voice disguising emotion and rage down the line is pretty on point with the lyrics of the song itself. And boy does the emotion and fury shine once we get into the refrain. After a quick introductory bridge, which sees her voice progressively gain strength, we're thrown into the iconic refrain of the song, where Minami's voice transcends simply being powerful into becoming something with far more depth. I feel like she accomplishes this in a few unique ways. Firstly, she's not afraid to let her voice sound a bit raspy to convey emotion. She particularly likes to do this towards the end of a phrase to make sure the phrase ends on a high note, usually quite literally. Secondly, her breaths in between phrases are extremely noticeable, sharp, jarring even. While including the sounds of taking a breath is hardly unique to Crying for Rain, it's certainly uncommon to hear it featured so prominently. Listen for the breaths in the refrain, and compare how noticeable they sound when put up against another one of my favorite anime songs, Liar Mask from Akame ga Kill. Minami's breaths sound like they've hardly been edited to reduce volume at all, and the fact that they're so high-pitched, sharp, and harsh really adds to the mood of raw emotion that Minami has been conveying. Thirdly, she uses her head voice occasionally, which adds a very interesting color change whenever she does so, to show moments of softness and delicateness in the midst of everything else that's going on. To be clear, she isn't using her head voice because the notes are too high to be belted with her chest voice. As you can see for herself, she's belted notes even higher than the notes she chose to sing with her head voice in this song. The reason she uses her head voice here is to provide that color contrast, to make the passion of the entire refrain seem even more emotional when compared against the delicate, soft head voice notes that she provides. To switch between your head voice and chest voice so rapidly is pretty rare in music, and certainly it's even rarer to hear it done well and in a manner that complements the tone of the song. And after the refrain comes to an end, we're done, and we're thrown into the world of Domestic Girlfriend, for better or for worse. And here's where my analysis of Minami's voice in Crying for Rain comes to an end as well. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and listening to my analysis. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. I actually don't think the story 100% stops here. There's many other elements of this song that I love, but if I were to talk about all of them, this video would never get done, and so I've opted to stick with just focusing on the function of Minami's voice for this video. However, if you'd like to see a part 2 or a follow-up on this amazing song, please let me know in the comments below. And also be sure to let me know if there's any other songs you guys would like to see me analyze. This has been Syntax404's What Makes an Anime OP Special. We'll see you next time.